4 girls down, 1 to go. Let's spend some time with Carmen, who is 17 years old. Alright everyone, say hello to Carmen. You can already tell something about her just by the way she runs. You can see that she has almost a dance to the way she runs. And that's pretty descriptive of her personality. Like I mentioned before, she's very flamboyant and kind of the life of the party wherever she goes. We'll take a look at the basket in a moment, but while we're here, we'll just collect some flowers. That's the fence, but that's a special item, so that's not for Carmen. One more flower here. She's very flamboyant even when picking flowers. Alright. Let's see what she says about what we got in the basket. So, for the bread. I have to take this to grandmother. Hopefully, this won't take long. I'm sure she has places to go, people to see. Alright, for the wine. I hear this is good for the heart. Yeah, fair enough. And what about the knife? Let's carve a heart in a tree, but with whose initials? So, one of the themes for Carmen is finding love. A bullet with my name on it. Alas. And she's also very dramatic, so lots of tragic deaths, unrequited love. Who knows what kind of tales pass through her mind. What about the feather? Oh, gross. Who would slaughter a bird in the middle of the forest? So, no interest in the morbid, unlike Ruby. And actually, there's a very telling comment on, I think it's Carmen's website, where she says that Ruby would probably get all of the boys in her year to fawn over her if only she would cheer up and change her makeup. Basically, she says that she could be really pretty if she wanted to be. So I have this feeling that Carmen and Ruby don't usually get along, although they may secretly have some interest in the other's, the way the other lives their life. Alright, the dead bird. Animals are so cruel, pushing each other out of the nest. So basically the antithesis of love, you know, rejecting a child, so she doesn't want to have anything to do with that. For the treasure. If I get rich, I wouldn't need to marry a millionaire. I could choose whomever I want. So there's a possible implication there that she might end up being a gold digger, marrying some guy for her money because she wants to be wealthy. How about the drugs? Guess it's not safe to try this. Okay, so drugs not really her thing. although she does have a different vice that we'll find out later. Two-headed bear. Male and female were once one. Separated, we roam the earth in search of our missing half. So, another focus on relationships. The boot. Not my style. Not my style at all. Not my size either. Carmen's really interested in fashion. How about the record? Let's get the party started. I have the music. Where's the beer? You will find the beer soon enough, Carmen. How about the flower? Flowers. Wish somebody would give some to me. How about the balloon? Nope, no comment for the balloon. That's kind of interesting. Even though the balloon isn't a special item, only Robin has had anything to say about the balloon so far. Nope, not for the piano. How about the playground? Look at this gorgeous woman. How can you resist? Now that's kind of interesting. On the one hand, you're like, you would say, why would she say that about the playground tower? Well, there's two reasons. One is, as you can see, the playground tower is represented by a mirror, which will show up at Grandmother's house. So you can just imagine that she's looking at herself in the mirror. But also, if you go to the playground tower, she'll do a quick little pose, like she's posing for a photo shoot or something. And so that's where that line comes from. Comment on graffiti? No? Guess not. How about the grave? Life is such a terrible waste. Interesting thing to say about that. I'm not quite sure how to interpret that, actually. I mean, apparently she's all about love and relationships, and you can't really have that without life. So a very interesting attitude to have. If you have any thoughts on that particular comment, feel free to let me know in the video comments. Let's head towards the girl in white, and on the way we'll grab some flowers as Carmen dances her way through the forest. Now I believe that at least two of her special items are actually in the same place where she's going to meet the wolf. Now the third one I'm not sure, so I'm going to see if the girl in white leads us somewhere other than where her wolf is, which is going to be at the campsite. And I will also collect flowers. Hopefully they won't just point us toward the campsite. $59. One more. There it is. And there's the campsite, too. Let's see. You're number 60. Show me something interesting. No, they want us to go to the campsite. Well, fine. But, oh, yep, there's the girl in white. But I'll make sure we have all the special items before I actually interact with the wolf. I don't know, all three might be here. We'll find out, actually. The tent is closed. The shack is closed. Yet the beer seems fresh. And the fire is still warm. So let's get some of that beer, shall we? Alright, so fresh and warm. Fresh out and warm in. Spinning head and bubbling blood. So we're a little bit underage still, but hey, it's the middle of the woods, so I don't think anyone's going to catch us. And she mentioned the fire, so let's get that going. The warm glow caresses my skin, peels me layer by layer, until I am pure for you. So, rather sensual imagery from Carmen. You remember that Ginger actually could start up the fire as well, but Ginger was able to get into the shack. But Carmen can't. That's another thing I'm not sure how to interpret. But it's an interesting detail. You can also hear in the background that a chant has started. That happens when you start up the fire. And that's the only time I think that where a new music track starts when you interact with an item. Here's our wolf. Whoop. Mind if I just walk through you? You notice that every now and then he goes ahead and sits down at the fire there. That'll be important in a minute. Let's see if we can... No, 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 not the beer, not the beer. We already did that. I think the final... Let me check my basket here really quick. Yeah. I think the final thing I need, actually... You just saw a picture of it, is the woodsman's hat. But I think he needs to actually stop taking his break and actually start hacking at the trees again before I can grab it. Thank you. Go back to hacking your trees. So I can steal your hat. No! Don't go back to the fire! Ugh. The wolf is not cooperating with me. Well, I'll wait till that hat shows up again in the image. There he goes. Okay. Now, start chopping. Meanwhile, Carmen's going to do some posing. No, he's... Oh, yes. Oh, good. Alright, he's going to go to another tree. And as soon as he starts chopping... There we go. Now you might ask, why do I need his hat? Well, actually, this is going to be Carmen... At least from the body language. I assume that Carmen's going to actually flirt with him. So she sneaks up behind him and playfully takes his hat. And I thought that was the item we need, but maybe not. Okay. Well, in that case, we need to find that last special item. It's the girl in white, still hanging out in her tent. Let's see... If I was a special item for Carmen, where would I be?